I thought I was building a life with her. I thought her family loved me like their own. I didn't know I was just paying rent on a dream that was never mine. By the time I saw the truth, I had nothing left. Not my house, not my money, not even my dignity. This is how I lost everything in paradise. I'm standing in this small chapel in Cebu wearing a barong tagalog that Ginalyn picked out for me herself. The embroidered fabric feels foreign against my skin, but when she helped me put it on this morning, she ran her hands down my chest and said, "You look so handsome, Percy, like a real Filipino man." I believed her. I believe everything she tells me. She's at the altar now in a white dress that cost me $800, and she's smiling at me like I'm the only man in the world. My heart is pounding so hard I think the whole chapel can hear it. At 69 years old, I never thought I'd feel this way again. After Janet left me back in Fredericton after 32 years of marriage, I told myself I was done. Done with love, done with trying, done with hoping for anything beyond my pension check and my quiet apartment and maybe some fishing on weekends if the weather was good. But then Ginalyn's message popped up on that dating site 2 years ago and everything changed in an instant. "Hello, handsome Canadian man," she wrote. "You have kind eyes. I like older man with experience." That was it. That was all it took. I clicked on her profile and saw this beautiful young woman with long black hair down to her waist and the sweetest smile I'd ever seen in my life. 26 years old. The profile said she worked in a call center, that she liked movies and cooking, that she was looking for a serious relationship. I'm not stupid. I knew what people would think. Old, desperate Canadian chasing a girl young enough to be his granddaughter. But when we started talking every day for hours, I forgot about the age gap. I forgot about everything except how she made me feel. Young, wanted, alive. "Tell me about Canada, Percy," she'd say during our video calls. "Is it very cold? Do you have big house? It's cold in winter." I'd tell her. "But beautiful. You'd love it. Maybe one day you bring me there," she'd say, and then she'd smile that smile. "Or maybe you come here. Philippines is beautiful too, and warm all year. I love you, Percy," she'd whisper late at night when it was morning in Cebu and I should have been sleeping. "When will you come see me? I miss you so much." So I came. I bought a ticket and maxed out one of my credit cards and flew halfway around the world. When I saw her at the Mactan airport standing there in a yellow sundress holding a sign that said, "Welcome, Percy, my love," I knew right then I was going to marry her. She ran to me and threw her arms around my neck and kissed me right there in front of everyone, and I didn't care who was watching. "You're here?" she whispered. "You're really here?" "I'm here," I said. Now here we are, 6 months later. Her mother Lita is in the front row wearing a bright purple dress, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. Before the ceremony started, she pulled me aside and gripped both my hands. "Thank you, Tito, Percy," she said, and her voice was shaking. "Thank you for loving my daughter. You are a blessing to our family. God sent you to us." Her brother Brian clapped me hard on the shoulder and grinned. "Welcome to the family, Kuya," he said. "You're one of us now, forever. One of them, family. I've never belonged to anything this big, this warm, this real. My own kids barely talk to me anymore. After the divorce, they took their mother's side, and I became the weekend dad who gradually faded into someone they called once a month out of obligation. But Ginalyn's family is different. Her cousins are here too. Maybe 15 or 20 people I met for the first time yesterday, but they're all smiling at me, calling me Tito Percy, and hugging me like I've known them my whole life. The priest is talking now in a mix of English and Tagalog, and I'm trying to focus on his words, but all I can see is Ginalyn. She's looking at me with tears in her eyes, and I realize I'm crying too. "Do you, Percy Andrew Morrison, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife to have and to hold from this day forward?" "I do," I say, and my voice cracks. She squeezes my hand. "I do too, baby," she whispers, even though it's not her turn yet, and everyone laughs and I laugh too. When the priest finally says, "You may kiss the bride," I pull her close and kiss her, and the whole room erupts in applause and cheering. This is real. This is happening. This is my life now. I bought a house here last month. 3 bedrooms with white walls and tile floors and a balcony that overlooks the coast. I can see the water from the master bedroom. I can hear the waves at night. It cost me $40,000. Every penny of my savings. I put it in Ginalyn's name because that's the law here. Foreigners can't own land, can't own property. I remember sitting in the real estate office looking at the papers. This seems like a lot of money, I said. Are you sure this is the right house? Ginalyn touched my arm. It's perfect, baby. It's our house, our home, where we'll start our family. But it's in your name. What if something happens? Nothing will happen, she said, and she looked hurt. Don't you trust me, Percy? We're getting married. What's mine is yours. That's how marriage works. I trust you, I said quickly. Of course I trust you. So I signed. I wired the money from my account in Canada and watched $40,000 disappear in one transaction. My entire life savings. Everything I had saved from 40 years of working at the power company. But what good is savings if you're alone? What good is money sitting in a bank when you could be building a life with someone you love? At the reception in a small restaurant near the church, Brian pulls me aside. Tito, can I talk to you for a minute? Of course, I say. We step outside into the warm evening air. He lights a cigarette and offers me one, but I shake my head. Tito, I just want to say thank you, he says. For what? For everything. For loving my sister. For being good to our family. My mama has been praying for years for Ginalyn to find a good man, someone who will take care of her. You answered her prayers. I feel 10 feet tall. I feel like I finally did something right with my life. She makes me happy, Brian. I love her. I know you do, he says. And she loves you too. We all love you. You're family now. He hugs me tight and I can smell the cigarette smoke and beer on him, but I don't care. Lita comes over when we go back inside and wraps her arms around me. You are good man, Percy, she says in her broken English. You have good heart. God bless you. God bless your marriage. I think about my daughter Emma back home in Toronto. I haven't told her about the wedding yet. I sent her an email last week saying I met someone, but I didn't mention the age or the marriage or the house. She wrote back a short message. Be careful, Dad. Make sure you're thinking clearly. She doesn't understand. She's 37 with a husband and 2 kids and a good job. She doesn't know what it's like to wake up alone every morning, to eat dinner by yourself while you watch TV, to go to bed knowing nobody in the world is thinking about you. She doesn't understand what it's like to be alone for 5 years watching everyone else live their lives while you just exist. Ginalyn takes my hand and leads me to the dance floor. A slow song is playing and she wraps her arms around my neck. Happy, Percy? She asks. Happiest day of my life, I tell her, and I mean it. This is everything I wanted. Everything I dreamed about during those long, lonely nights in Fredericton. A new start, a family, a purpose, a reason to wake up in the morning. I finally found where I belong. The honeymoon phase doesn't end. 3 weeks into married life and I still wake up every morning feeling like I won the lottery. Ginalyn and I settle into the house and it's everything I imagined. Every morning she makes me coffee just the way I like it, 2 sugars, 1 cream, and we sit together on the balcony watching the sun come up over the water. The light turns everything golden orange and I think this is what peace feels like. This is perfect, I tell her one morning. You're perfect, she says back and kisses my cheek. I wire money from my Canadian account every month, $1,500. It covers everything. The electric bill, the groceries, the internet, water, property tax. Ginalyn handles it all. Don't worry about anything, baby, she says. I take care of the bills. I take care of the house. You just relax and be happy. And I do relax. For the first time in years, I'm not worrying about anything. Not my health, not my loneliness, not what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. I'm just here, present, happy. Then one morning, about a month in, Ginalyn comes to me with her phone in her hand and her face looks worried. Baby, I need to talk to you about something, she says. What's wrong? I ask and immediately my chest tightens. Is everything okay? It's my mama, she says, sitting down next to me. She's not feeling good. She's been having chest pains and she's scared to go to the doctor. Chest pains? That's serious, Ginalyn. She needs to see a doctor right away. I know, but we don't have money for it, she says. The tests are expensive, and if they need to do more tests or give her medicine, it will cost even more. How much are we talking about? Maybe 2,000 pesos. For the initial checkup and basic tests? I do the math in my head. About $50 Canadian. Practically nothing. Of course, I say immediately. Whatever she needs, I'll send it today. Ginalyn's whole face lights up. She throws her arms around me. Thank you, Percy. Thank you so much. You're so good to us. I'm so lucky I found you. I feel warm inside, proud. This is what being a man is about. Taking care of your family, being there when people need you. I transfer the money that afternoon through an app on my phone, 2,000 pesos to Lita's account. A week later, Ginalyn tells me her mother needs more tests. The doctor says her heart is okay, but they want to check her blood. She explains. Another 3,000 pesos. No problem, I say. Just let me know what she needs. A few days after that, Brian shows up at the house. It's around 10 in the morning and I'm on the balcony reading. He walks in through the front door without knocking. Hey, Tito, he calls out. You home? I'm up here, I say. He comes up the stairs and sits down in the chair across from me. He looks uncomfortable, nervous. What's up, Brian? I ask. Everything okay? Yeah, everything's good, he says, but he's not looking at me. I just wanted to talk to you about something. Sure. What is it? He rubs his hands together. I'm in a bit of trouble, Tito. With my motorcycle loan. What kind of trouble? I'm behind on payments. 3 months behind. The company keeps calling me, and they say if I don't pay soon, they'll repossess it. How much do you owe? 5,000 pesos. I know it's a lot, Tito, and I wouldn't ask, but I need the bike for work. If they take it, I can't get to my job. I look at him. He's 28 years old. Works at a warehouse, making minimum wage. Lives with his mother. I think about saying no. I think about telling him he needs to figure it out himself. But then I remember what he said at the wedding. Your family now. Okay, I say. I'll help you out. His face breaks into a huge smile. Really, Tito? You mean it? Yeah, but you have to promise me you'll stay current on the payments from now on. I promise. I swear. Thank you so much, Kuya. You're the best. I transfer 5,000 pesos to his account that afternoon. About $100. It's not that much money, really. And if it helps him keep his job, then it's worth it. But as I'm making the transfer, I realize I've sent 7,000 pesos in the past 2 weeks. That's over $150 on top of my regular monthly transfer. These small requests keep coming. Ginalyn's cousin needs money for her daughter's school supplies, 300 pesos. Lita needs money for medicine, 500 pesos. Brian needs gas money, 200 pesos. I say yes to all of it. Every time someone asks, I say yes because I tell myself this is what family does. You help each other, you take care of each other. But I start noticing things, small things that don't quite add up. Ginalyn's phone is always face down on the table. When it buzzes, she grabs it quickly and walks into another room to answer. Who was that? I ask when she comes back one evening. Just my friend Melissa, she says. Nothing important, baby. What did she want? Just girl talk, boring stuff. Don't worry about it. She's gone a lot too. 2 or 3 hours at a time, sometimes longer. Where are you going? I ask one afternoon when she's putting on makeup. To help my mama, she says. She still doesn't feel good and she needs me to clean her house and cook for her. Do you want me to come? I offer. I could help. No, baby, you stay here and rest, she says quickly. You don't need to come. My mama's house is very small and hot. You won't be comfortable. I don't mind, I say. No, really. You stay here. I'll be back soon. She kisses my forehead and leaves. I sit on the balcony and try to read, but I can't focus. Something doesn't feel right. Why doesn't she want me to come with her? Why is she always on her phone? Why does she need to be at her mother's house so often if her mother's getting better? I push the thoughts away. I tell myself I'm being paranoid. This is just culture shock. This is how things work in the Philippines. Family is close. People help each other. I need to adjust. One afternoon, maybe 5 weeks after the wedding, Brian shows up again. He walks into the living room where I'm watching TV and goes straight to the fridge. He grabs a beer and sits down on the couch. "Hey, Tito," he says, opening the beer. "Hey, Brian, you want to maybe ask before you help yourself?" He looks confused. "Ask what?" "If you can have a beer," he laughs. "Why would I ask? We're family, Tito. This is like my house, too." I feel my jaw tighten. "It's not your house, Brian. It's mine and Ginalyn's." "Same thing," he says, shrugging. "We're family. What's yours is mine, right?" He says it so casually, like it's the most obvious thing in the world. I want to say something. I want to tell him that's not how it works. But I don't. I just sit there watching him drink my beer in my house, acting like he owns the place. That night, Ginalyn comes home late. After 10, I'm already in bed. "Where were you?" I ask. "At my mama's. I told you. Until 10 at night, she needed help with something." "Why are you asking me so many questions, Percy?" "I'm not. I just missed you." She gets into bed and turns her back to me. "Good night," she says. I lie there in the dark next to her and I realize something that makes my stomach turn. This doesn't feel like a marriage. It feels like I'm a guest in my own life, but I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to fix it. So I do nothing. I just lie there and tell myself it will get better. It has to get better. Her family is always here now. Always. Brian sleeps on the couch 3 nights a week. When I ask why, he just shrugs and says his place is too far. Sometimes he brings friends. Guys I've never met who eat my food and use my Wi-Fi and call me Tito like we're old friends. Lita shows up every morning at 7 and stays until dinner, sometimes later. She cooks and cleans, but she also goes through everything. Opens cupboards, looks in drawers, uses my laptop without asking. I come out of the bedroom one morning and she's at my computer. "Lita, what are you doing?" I ask. "Just checking Facebook," she says, not looking up. "On my computer?" "Yes, my phone is broken." "You could have asked." She waves her hand dismissively. "You don't mind. We're family." Her cousins drop by unannounced. They raid the fridge, use the Wi-Fi, and ask me for rides into town. One afternoon, 3 of them show up with shopping bags. "Tito, can you drive us to the market?" one of them asks. I don't even know her name. "I'm kind of busy right now," I say. "Please, Tito, we need to buy food for my mama's birthday party tomorrow." I look at Ginalyn, hoping she'll say something, but she's on her phone. "Fine," I say. "Let me get my keys." I drive them to the market and wait in the hot car for an hour while they shop. When they come back, their bags are full. "Thank you, Tito," they say, climbing in. "You're the best. Nobody offers me gas money. Nobody even thanks me after we get back. They just take their bags and disappear." I try to set boundaries, but it never works. One morning I tell Ginalyn I need some space. Just us. Like it used to be. "What do you mean?" she asks. "I mean your family is here all the time. Brian sleeps here more than he sleeps at home. Your mother treats this place like it's hers. I just want some time alone with you." Her face hardens. "They're my family, Percy," she says, and her voice has an edge to it. "In the Philippines, we take care of each other. Are you saying you don't want my family here?" "No, I'm not saying that. I stop. I don't know what I'm saying. I just thought we'd have more time alone, as husband and wife." "We have plenty of time alone," she says. "But they're my family. They need us. If you can't accept that, then maybe you don't understand what family means." She walks away before I can respond. For the next 2 days, she barely speaks to me. No good morning kiss. No coffee on the porch. She's cold, distant, like I'm a stranger she's forced to live with. I panic. I can't lose her. I can't go back to being alone. I can't go back to that empty apartment in Fredericton, where the only sound was the TV and my own breathing. So I apologize. I find her in the bedroom folding laundry. "Baby," I say, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. Your family is always welcome here. This is their home too." She looks at me. "You mean that?" "Yes. I was just stressed. I'm sorry." She softens, comes over and touches my face. "That's my Percy," she says. I knew you'd understand. Family is everything. You know that, right? I know, I say, but I don't understand. I don't understand why Brian needs to sleep here when he has his own place. I don't understand why Lita treats my house like her house. I don't understand why every conversation ends with someone asking me for money. Brian corners me one afternoon while I'm trying to read on the balcony. Tito, I have a business idea, he says. His eyes are bright. Excited. Yeah? What kind of business? I want to open a small store, like a sari-sari store. Sell snacks and drinks and basic supplies. It'll be good income. That sounds interesting. I say carefully. How much capital do you need? 10,000 pesos. Just to start, to buy the initial inventory and rent the space. I hesitate. That's almost $200. Let me think about it, I say. That night, Ginalyn brings it up at dinner. Brian told me about his business idea, she says. It's good, right? He'll finally have steady income. He won't need to ask you for help anymore. The way she says it makes me feel guilty. Like I'm the problem. Like if I just helped him now, everything would be better. I told him I'd think about it, I say. She puts down her fork. What's there to think about, Percy? He's your brother now. Family helps family. I know, but 10,000 pesos is a lot of money. It's an investment, she says. He'll pay you back once the store starts making money. Will he? Because I gave him 5,000 for his motorcycle and he never paid that back. Her eyes go cold. So you're keeping score now? That's what marriage is to you? Keeping track of every peso? That's not what I said. Then what are you saying? That my family is taking advantage of you? No, I stop. I don't know what to say. I just want to make sure it's a real plan. She stands up. Forget it. Don't help him. I'll find another way. She walks to the bedroom and closes the door. I sit at the table alone, staring at my half-eaten dinner. 5 minutes later, I knock on the bedroom door. Ginalyn? She doesn't answer. Baby, I'm sorry. I'll transfer the money tomorrow. I'll help him. She opens the door, kisses me on the cheek. Thank you, Percy. You won't regret it. But I already do. I'm exhausted. The house doesn't feel like mine anymore. It feels like I'm a guest in a hotel I paid for. Every room has someone in it. Every conversation is in Tagalog, and when I ask what they're saying, they just smile and say nothing important. I can't walk through my own house without running into someone who wants something from me. Lita asks me to buy a new TV. The old one is too small, she says. I buy a 50-inch smart TV for 15,000 pesos. 2 weeks later, she asks for a new fridge. This one doesn't work good, she says, even though I just bought it 3 months ago. I buy another one. 20,000 pesos. Brian needs a helmet, new tires for his motorcycle, money for his girlfriend's birthday. I say yes to everything. I don't know how to say no anymore. Every time I hesitate, Ginalyn pulls away from me. Every time I ask questions, she gets cold. So I stop asking. I stop hesitating. I just give. I think if I give enough, she'll love me again the way she did at the wedding. I think if I give enough, I'll finally feel like I belong. But deep down, I know it's not working. Deep down, I know I'm drowning. I check my bank account one morning, and my stomach drops. I sit at the kitchen table, staring at the numbers on my laptop screen, trying to understand how it happened so fast. I've sent over $40,000 in the past year. 40,000. The house was 40. That's 80,000 total. My entire life savings plus 6 months of pension. Renovations for the house. Medical bills for Lita. Brian's motorcycle payment. His business. The new TV. The new fridge. 2 new motorcycles. Groceries. Electric. Water. Internet. Birthday parties. Graduation gifts. Emergency dental work. A laptop for Ginalyn's cousin. School supplies. Medicine. It never stops. All of it adds up. All of it came from me. My hands are shaking. Ginalyn walks into the kitchen. Morning, baby, she says, but she's looking at her phone. Ginalyn, I say, and my voice sounds strange even to me. We need to talk. She glances up. About what? Money. I need to slow down on spending. I've sent a lot over the past year and I'm worried about running out. The change in her face is instant. The warmth drains out of it like someone flipped a switch. "You don't trust me?" she says, and her voice is sharp. "After everything I've done for you?" "No, that's not what I start, but she cuts me off. "I take care of you, Percy. I cook for you. I clean. I make you happy. And now you're telling me you don't trust me with money?" "I didn't say I don't trust you. I just said I'm worried. That's all." She crosses her arms. Her whole body language changes. "So what do you want me to do? Stop taking care of my family? Let my mama die because you're worried about money?" "No, Ginalyn, please. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we need to be more careful, more intentional with spending." "Intentional?" she says, and she actually laughs, but there's no humor in it. "My family is in need and you want to be intentional? Your mother just got a new fridge. Brian just got new tires. I'm not saying don't help them. I'm just saying maybe we slow down a little." Her eyes narrow. "Then what are you saying, Percy?" "I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I just know that at this rate I'll run out of money in less than 2 years. My pension is only $1,800 a month. If I keep sending 1,500 plus extras, I won't have anything left." But looking at her now with her arms crossed and her jaw set, I can't bring myself to say all that. "I'm sorry," I say instead. "I trust you. I'm just stressed." She softens a little, comes over and touches my hand, but it feels mechanical, practiced. "Don't worry, baby," she says. "I'll take care of you. You don't need to stress about money. That's my job." "Okay," I say. But that night I can't sleep. I keep thinking about the numbers. $40,000 in 1 year, not counting the house. That's more than double what I plan to spend. At this rate, I'll run out in 2 years, maybe less. What happens then? What happens when the money's gone? I get up to get water and I hear Ginalyn talking on the phone in the bedroom. The door is cracked. She's speaking in Cebuano and I don't understand most of it, but I catch a few words. Americano, para, matanda, American, money, old man. My blood goes cold. I stand in the hallway frozen, unable to move. She laughs at something, says something else I don't understand, something that sounds like next month. Then she laughs again. I quickly walk to the kitchen and pour water. My hand is shaking so hard I spill some on the counter. She comes out a minute later, smiling at her phone. "Can't sleep, baby?" she asks. "Just thirsty," I say. She kisses my forehead, but it feels empty, cold. "Come back to bed." I follow her, but I don't sleep. I lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, thinking about what I heard. Americano, para, matanda, American, money, old man. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe she was talking about someone else. Maybe it was about a movie, or a story, or something innocent. But the pit in my stomach tells me otherwise. The pit in my stomach knows exactly what she was saying. I'm not her husband. I'm her ATM. Brian shows up one afternoon with a big smile. I'm sitting on the porch pretending to read, but really I'm just staring at the same page over and over. "Tito, I have great opportunity," he says, sitting down across from me. "Business opportunity. For real this time. I'm already tired. I'm tired of opportunities, tired of needs, tired of emergencies." "What kind of opportunity?" I ask. Sari store," he says. "Small convenience store in the barangay. Like I told you before, remember? But this time I have everything planned. I found the perfect location, right on the main road. Good foot traffic. I just need capital to start." "How much?" 15,000 pesos. I close my book. "Brian, didn't you say you were going to start a store before? What happened to that?" He waves his hand like he's swatting a fly. "That was different. That didn't work out. But this time is real. I have the location secured. I have a supplier lined up. I just need money for the first inventory and the deposit on the rent. So where did the 10,000 pesos go that I gave you before?" "That?" He looks confused. "That was for different things, Tito. That wasn't for the store. You told me it was for a store, Brian. You said you wanted to open a Sari store?" "Yeah, but plans changed. This time is different." Ginalyn comes outside. "It's good idea, Percy," she says, and I realize she was listening the whole time. The store will make money. Brian will finally be independent. He won't need to ask you for help anymore. There it is again. That guilt. That implication that if I just help one more time, everything will be fixed. I look at Brian. He's 28 years old. He's never held a steady job for more than 6 months. He lives with his mother. He drinks too much. He borrowed my motorcycle once and returned it with a broken mirror and a dent in the fender. He owes money to at least 3 people I know of. But Ginalyn is looking at me with those eyes. The eyes that say if you loved me, you'd do this. The eyes that say family helps family. The eyes that say don't you dare say no. How much did you say? I ask. 15,000 pesos. That's $300. $300 I don't really have. $300 that should be saved for emergencies or medicine, or my flight home if I ever need to leave? Okay, I say. I'll transfer the money. Brian jumps up and hugs me. Thank you, Tito. Thank you so much. I won't let you down. You'll see. This store is going to be big. I transfer $8,000 that afternoon. 15,000 pesos. It clears my account down to almost nothing. 2 weeks pass. I ask Brian how the store is going. Good, Tito, he says. Still setting up? Another week. How's the store, Brian? When's the opening? Almost ready. Just waiting on some supplies from Manila. A month passes. I'm driving through the barangay, and I decide to stop by and see it. Brian said it was near the church on the main road. I park and walk around. I ask a few locals if they've seen a new Sari Sari store opening. They shake their heads. I call Brian. Hey, where exactly is the store? I'm in the barangay, but I can't find it. There's a pause. Too long of a pause. Oh, Tito, I'm not there right now. I'll show you later. Just tell me where it is. I want to see it. Another pause. Plans changed a little bit. I'll explain later. I feel heat rising in my chest. Plans changed? What does that mean? I'll talk to you later, Tito. I'm busy right now. He hangs up. I drive home and my hands are shaking on the steering wheel. I find Brian at my house 2 hours later. He's in the living room eating my food, watching my TV. Where's the store, Brian? I ask. My voice is louder than I mean it to be. He looks up. What? The store. The one I gave you $8,000 for. 15,000 pesos. Where is it? He shrugs. Actually, shrugs. Oh, that. Yeah, plans changed. I used the money for something else. I feel my face getting hot. Something else? What's something else? Just other stuff, Tito. Business expenses. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I gave you $8,000 for a business that doesn't exist. You lied to me. He stands up. I didn't lie. Plans just changed. That's how business works. That's not how business works, Brian. That's called fraud. Why are you being like this? He says, and he actually looks offended. I'm family. You're supposed to help family. I did help you. I gave you $8,000 based on a lie. Ginalyn comes in from the bedroom. What's going on? She asks. Your brother scammed me, I say. That's what's going on. Her eyes narrow. Don't talk about my brother like that, Percy. He took $8,000 and lied to me, Ginalyn. There is no store. There was never going to be a store. He's family, Percy, she says slowly like she's talking to a child. You can't just abandon family because of money. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm asking for basic honesty. I'm asking where my money went. You don't understand our culture, she says, and her voice is getting louder. This is how we do things here. We help each other. We share. We don't count every peso like some greedy foreigner. I'm not counting every peso. I'm asking where $8,000 went. She steps closer to me. If this is too hard for you, Percy, then maybe you should go back to Canada, where you can be alone and count your money by yourself. The words hit me like a punch. I stand there staring at her. Brian walks past me and out the door. Ginalyn goes to the bedroom and shuts it. Hard. I'm alone in the living room of the house I paid for, feeling like the bad guy. That night I replay the conversation over and over. I gave $8,000 for a business that never existed, and somehow I'm the one who's wrong. Somehow I'm the greedy one. Somehow I'm the one who doesn't understand family. I start to realize something I've been avoiding for months, something I didn't want to admit. I'm not a husband here. I'm a wallet, a resource to be extracted until there's nothing left. But I still can't bring myself to leave. Where would I go? Back to that apartment in Fredericton? Back to being alone? Back to waking up every day with nothing to do and no one who cares? At least here I have people around me, even if they're only around me for my money. At least here I'm not alone. I make an appointment with a lawyer in Cebu City. I tell Ginalyn I'm going to the bank. She doesn't even look up from her phone. "Okay, baby," she says. The lawyer's office is small and cramped. There's a fan spinning on the ceiling, but it's still hot. His name is Addy Reyes, and he's maybe 50, with kind eyes and glasses. "Mr. Percy," he says, shaking my hand. "Please sit. What can I help you with today?" I sit down in a plastic chair and pull out the property papers. My hands are shaking a little. "I bought a house here last year," I say. "It's in my wife's name because of the foreign ownership laws. I just want to make sure I'm protected, that I have rights to the property." He takes the papers and reads through them. His expression changes as he reads. He looks up at me and there's pity in his eyes. Real pity. "Mr. Percy, do you understand what this document says?" "I think so. The house is in her name, but we're married, so it's ours, right? Community property?" He sets the papers down slowly. "No, sir. Under Philippine law, this house belongs entirely to your wife. As a foreigner, you have no legal claim to it whatsoever." I feel the blood drain from my face, but I paid for it. I paid $40,000. I have the bank records. That may be true, but the title is in her name. The property is registered in her name alone. If she decides to sell it, or if your marriage ends, you have no rights to the property. Legally speaking, you could try to file a case to prove that you paid for it, but these cases are very difficult, especially for foreigners. The burden of proof is on you, and even if you win, you might only recover a portion of your investment. Maybe. My mouth is dry. So if she wanted me to leave, she could ask you to leave, yes. It's her property. She's the legal owner. And I'd have no recourse? You could try to negotiate with her. Have her sign documents acknowledging your financial contribution. But even that isn't guaranteed protection. If she refuses, there's not much you can do. I sit there trying to process this information, trying to understand what it means. I bought a house. I paid for everything, but legally it's not mine. I have nothing. Is there anything I can do? I ask, and my voice sounds weak. He shakes his head slowly. "I'm sorry, Mr. Percy. You should have consulted a lawyer before purchasing the property. There are ways to structure these things, to provide some protection for foreign investors, but once the title is transferred, there's very little that can be done." I thank him and leave. I sit in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes trying to breathe. The heat is suffocating. I feel like I can't get enough air. $40,000 for a house I don't own. $8,000 for a business that doesn't exist. All the money I've sent over the past year for bills and family and medical expenses and emergencies and birthdays and who knows what else. I've spent over $60,000 in 18 months. My entire life savings, everything I worked for, and I have nothing to show for it. Nothing except a marriage certificate to a woman who barely looks at me anymore. I drive home in silence. When I get there, Brian is on the couch. Lita is in the kitchen. Ginalyn is on the porch on her phone. I walk past all of them without saying anything and go to the bedroom. I close the door and lie down on the bed and stare at the ceiling. The fan is spinning above me. I watch it go around and around and around. I'm 69 years old. I'm living in a house I paid for but don't own. I'm married to a woman who barely touches me anymore. I'm surrounded by people who only see me as a source of money, and I don't know how to get out. That night, Ginalyn comes to bed late, after midnight. She doesn't ask about my day, doesn't ask where I went or what I did. She just lies down with her back to me. "Good night, Percy," she says. I don't answer. I just lie there in the dark, listening to her breathe. I know she knows. I know she's always known. I know they all know. And that's the part that hurts the most. They never saw me as family. They never saw me as one of them. They saw an old, lonely foreigner with money, and they took everything. I can't sleep anymore. I can't eat. For 3 days, I just go through the motions while everything churns inside me. Every time I look at Ginalyn, I think about that phone call. Americano, para, matanda. Every time Brian walks in, I think about the store that never existed. Every time Lita asks me for something, I think about how much I've already given. On the fourth day, I decide I have to say something. I have to know the truth even if it destroys me. Ginalyn is on the porch when I find her. Morning sun. She's on her phone like always, probably texting someone, probably talking about me. Ginalyn, I say, we need to talk. She doesn't look up. About what? About us. About this house. About your family. About everything. She sets her phone down and looks at me. Her face is blank. No emotion. No warmth. Nothing. Okay. Talk. I sit down across from her. My hands are shaking and I put them in my lap so she can't see. I went to a lawyer, I say. He told me I don't own this house, that legally you could kick me out any time you want. She doesn't react, just stares at me with those dead eyes. I paid for this house, Ginalyn. I paid $40,000. I've sent you over $60,000 in the past year and a half. For your family, for bills, for emergencies, for everything. And I have nothing. No house, no savings, nothing. What do you want me to say, Percy? She asks. Her voice is flat, cold, like she's bored. I want to know if any of this was real, I say, and my voice breaks. Did you ever love me? Or was I just a way to get money? She laughs. Actually laughs. It's a short, sharp sound with no humor in it. What did you expect, Percy? She says. You're 69 years old. I'm 26. Did you really think I fell in love with you because you're handsome? Because you're interesting? I feel like I've been punched in the chest. You told me you loved me, I say. You said I was different. You said we were building a life together. I needed security, she says simply, like she's explaining something obvious. You needed someone to take care of you. Someone to make you feel young. Someone to make you feel like a man. That's how it works. So none of it was real. The wedding, the promises, none of it. It was what it needed to be, she says. She picks up her phone again. If you're unhappy, you can leave. This is my house, I say, but even as I say it, I know it's not true. No, Percy, this is my house. You bought it for me, remember? You signed the papers. You put it in my name. That was your choice. Because I trusted you. Because I thought we were married. Because I thought what's mine is yours. And what's mine is mine, she says, looking at me now. Really looking at me. That's how it works here. You should have been smarter. I stand up. I feel dizzy. The porch is tilting. Did you ever love me at all? I ask one more time. She doesn't answer, just goes back to scrolling through her phone. I walk inside and start packing. I don't have much. Some clothes, my laptop, my documents, my passport, my phone charger. I pack it all into one suitcase. It takes maybe 20 minutes. 20 minutes to pack up my entire life in this country. Ginalyn doesn't try to stop me, doesn't say anything, doesn't even watch. I walk past her on the porch with my suitcase and she doesn't look up. I'm halfway down the driveway when I hear voices behind me. Lita and Brian are coming up the path. When they see me with my suitcase, they start yelling. Lita is pointing at me. Brian is waving his arms. I don't understand what they're saying, but I understand the tone. Anger, outrage, betrayal. How dare I leave? Brian gets in my face. You can't just leave, Tito, he says. You have responsibility here. You made promises. Responsibility? I say. I've given you everything I have. What more do you want? You made promises to our family, Lita says in broken English. Her voice is shaking with rage. You break promises. You abandon family. I look at Ginalyn. She's standing in the doorway now with her arms crossed, watching, saying nothing, doing nothing. I wait for her to say something, to defend me, to tell them to stop, to show some sign that she ever cared about me at all. She doesn't. She just turns and goes inside. That's when I know for sure. That's when the last little piece of hope dies. I was never family. I was never a husband. I was never one of them. I was just the foreigner with the money, the old man who was desperate enough to believe that a 26-year-old woman could love him. I get in my car and drive away. In the rearview mirror, I see Brian and Lita still yelling, still waving their arms. Ginalyn is back on the porch, back on her phone. None of them try to stop me. None of them run after the car. None of them ask me to stay, because they don't need me anymore. They already got everything they wanted. I check into a budget hotel in Cebu City. The room costs 800 pesos a night, about $16. It's small. One bed, one chair, a bathroom with a shower that barely works. The air conditioning rattles. There's a stain on the wall that looks like water damage, but it's mine. It's the first space I've had that's actually mine in over a year. I've been here for 2 weeks and I barely leave. I order food through delivery apps. I sleep. I stare at the walls. I watch TV shows I don't understand. My pension barely covers the hotel and food now. I have maybe $3,000 left in my account. That's it. That's what's left of 40 years of work. I think about calling my daughter Emma back in Toronto. I imagine the conversation. How would I even start? Hey, sweetie, I met a woman online, got married, moved to the Philippines, bought her a house, gave her family $60,000, and now I have nothing. I can't do it. I can't hear the disappointment in her voice. I can't hear her say, "I told you so," even if she's too nice to actually say it. I can't admit that I was this stupid. Every night I replay every moment. The first message on the dating site. The first video call where she smiled at me and called me handsome. The first time she said, "I love you." The wedding, the house, the promises. I look for the moment it became a lie. The exact moment when she decided I was just a mark. But I can't find it. Maybe it was a lie from the beginning. Maybe from that very first message she saw an old, lonely man with money. Maybe she never loved me, not even a little bit. I think about the wedding, how happy I was, how loved I felt. Her family thanking me, calling me Tito Percy, making me feel like I belonged. It was all an act, a performance, a con designed to get me to open my wallet and keep it open. And I fell for it. I fell for all of it because I was so desperate to be wanted. I'm not angry at Ginalyn anymore. I wish I was. Anger would be easier. Anger would give me something to hold on to. But I'm not angry. I'm just sad. And I'm angry at myself. I ignored every red flag, every warning sign, every moment that made me uncomfortable. The phone always face down, the constant requests for money, the way she pulled away whenever I questioned anything, the way Brian helped himself to my house, the way Lita went through my things. I saw it all. I saw every single sign, and I chose to ignore it because I was terrified of being alone. I meet an old expat at a cafe one afternoon. I went out for the first time in days just to get some air. His name is Frank, American, maybe 75. We're both sitting alone and he nods at me. "Canadian?" he asks. "How'd you know?" "I can tell. You've got that polite, miserable look." I almost laugh. "That obvious?" "Mind if I sit?" "Go ahead." He sits down with his coffee. We talk for a while. Weather, politics, nothing important. Then he says, "Let me guess. Young Filipina wife? Gave her family money? Things didn't work out?" I nod. I don't trust myself to speak. "You're not the first," he says, "and you won't be the last." "How do you deal with it?" I ask. He shrugs. "You learn. You move on. You stop blaming yourself so much, or at least you try to. But I should have known better." "Maybe," he says, "but loneliness makes people do stupid things. Makes you see what you want to see instead of what's really there. Don't beat yourself up too much. I want to feel comforted, but I don't. I just feel sad. Sad that this happens enough that other men recognize the pattern. Sad that I'm not special. Just another old foreigner who got taken. Just another lonely man who thought he could buy love. I lost over $60,000, I say. He whistles. "That's a lot. Everything I had. I'm sorry," he says, and he sounds like he means it. What are you going to do? I don't know. Go home, I guess. Figure out how to live on my pension alone. That's all you can do, he says. Start over. But I don't know if I can start over. I'm 69 years old. I don't have time to rebuild. I don't have the energy to try again. That night I lie in my cheap hotel room listening to the traffic outside. I think about Fredericton. The snow, the cold, the quiet. My old apartment with the view of nothing. My old life where I knew exactly what to expect every single day. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't romantic. But it was mine. And I gave it all up for a fantasy. For a woman who never loved me. For a family that never wanted me. For a dream that was never real. I lost over $60,000. I lost my house. I lost 2 years of my life. But the worst part is I lost my dignity. I lost the ability to look at myself in the mirror and feel proud. I was desperate and pathetic, and I paid the price. I don't hate Ginalyn. I really don't. I hate that I let it happen. I hate that I ignored my gut because I wanted so badly to be wanted. I hate that I was willing to pay for love because I didn't think I deserved to be loved for free. I'm back in Fredericton now. Winter. Snow everywhere. My daughter Emma picked me up from the airport 3 weeks ago. I sent her a short message. Coming home. Need a place to stay for a while. She didn't ask questions. Just wrote back, "Of course, Dad. I'll be there." When I came through arrivals, she was waiting with her 2 kids. She took one look at my face and wrapped her arms around me. "I'm glad you're home," she whispered. I almost broke down right there. I'm staying in her basement. It's not much. A fold-out couch, a small bathroom, a space heater because it gets cold down here. But it's warm and quiet and no one asks me for money. No one treats me like an ATM. No one looks at me like I'm a resource to be extracted. Emma knows something happened, but she doesn't push. She brings me coffee in the mornings, invites me up for dinner with the family, asks if I'm okay but doesn't demand answers. "When you're ready, Dad," she says. "I'm here when you're ready. I'm not ready." I don't know if I'll ever be ready to talk about what happened. How do you explain that level of stupidity? How do you tell your daughter that you gave everything to a woman who never loved you? But at night I think about it. I think about everything. The wedding, the way Ginalyn smiled at me, the way her family called me Tito and made me feel like I belonged, the house with the view of the coast, the mornings on the porch drinking coffee, the promises, the dreams, the hope. I wonder if any of it was real, if she felt anything at all, or if I was just a transaction from day one, a means to an end, an old lonely fool with money and no one to give it to. I'll never know. She hasn't tried to contact me, not once. No message, no call, nothing. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe her silence tells me everything I need to know. Emma brings me coffee one morning. Saturday. The kids are watching cartoons upstairs. She sits down across from me at the little table in the basement. "Dad," she says gently, "are you okay? I mean, really okay?" "I'm getting there," I say. "Do you want to talk about it?" "Not yet. Maybe someday, but not yet." She nods. "Okay, but I'm here when you're ready. And I'm glad you're home. The kids love having you here. They miss their grandpa." "I miss them too," I say, and it's true. I missed a lot. I missed birthdays, Christmas, school plays, all because I was halfway around the world chasing something that was never there. "I'm glad you're home," she says again. Home. The word feels strange. I gave up home for paradise, for a dream that turned into a nightmare, for a fantasy that cost me everything. But sitting here in Emma's basement with my daughter checking on me, I realize home was never about a place. Home is people who actually care. People who love you even when you're broke, even when you're stupid, even when you make terrible decisions. I didn't lose everything. I lost money. I lost time. I lost dignity. But I didn't lose my daughter. I didn't lose the chance to be a grandfather. I didn't lose myself completely. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm learning to be alone again. Not lonely, just alone. And that's enough. I don't need someone to complete me. I don't need a family that only wants me for what I can give. I just need to be okay with who I am. I'm 69 years old. I've got some years left, maybe 10, maybe 20 if I'm lucky, and I'm not spending them chasing ghosts, not spending them trying to buy love from people who have none to give, not spending them pretending everything's fine when it's not. I go for walks now, every afternoon when it's not too cold, around Emma's neighborhood. I watch people living their normal lives, walking dogs, shoveling driveways, taking out garbage. It looks boring. It looks small and ordinary and unremarkable, but it looks peaceful. And I think that's what I need now. Peace. Not excitement, not romance, not adventure, just peace. I think about Ginalyn sometimes. Wonder if she ever thinks about me. Probably not. Probably she's already moved on. Maybe there's already another lonely foreigner in that house. Another old man desperate enough to believe that a young, beautiful woman could love him for who he is instead of what he has. I hope she's happy. I really do. Because I don't want to carry hate around anymore. Hate is too heavy and I'm too old for heavy things. I'm learning forgiveness. Not for her, for me. Forgiving myself for being stupid, for being desperate, for ignoring everything my gut told me, for wanting to be loved so badly that I paid $60,000 for the illusion of it. One afternoon, Emma and I are having coffee. The kids are at school. It's quiet. She finally asks, "Dad, what happened in the Philippines?" I take a deep breath. I fell in love. I say, or I thought I did. Turns out I was just paying rent on a dream that was never mine. She reaches across the table and holds my hand. "I'm sorry, Dad." "Me too, sweetie. Me too. Do you regret going?" I think about it. Really think about it. I regret staying as long as I did. I regret ignoring the signs. But I don't regret trying to find love, even if it wasn't real, even if it cost me everything. I don't regret hoping. She squeezes my hand. "You're brave, Dad." "I'm not brave. I'm just old and stupid." "No," she says firmly. "You're brave. It takes courage to hope at any age. It takes courage to love, even if it doesn't work out." I don't know if I believe her, but I appreciate her saying it. That night I think about closure. Everyone talks about closure like it's something you can find or earn or demand. Like if you just ask the right questions or say the right things, everything will make sense and you'll be able to move on. But real closure is just accepting that some questions don't have answers. Some people don't care that they hurt you. Some stories don't have endings that make sense. Ginalyn never apologized. Never admitted she used me. Never gave me a reason why. And she never will. I have to make peace with that. I think about Cebu, the beaches, the warm air, the way the light looked on the water, the sound of the waves at night. It was beautiful. Truly beautiful. But beauty doesn't mean paradise. Paradise isn't a place. Paradise is being with people who love you for real. Paradise is being able to trust. Paradise is knowing you're safe. I never had any of that in Cebu. I had a transaction dressed up as love. I had a fantasy I paid for. I had nothing real. My phone buzzes one morning. A message from a number I don't recognize. International code. Philippines. I open it. "Hi, Percy. It's Ginalyn. How are you? My mama is sick again and needs medicine. Can you help?" No question mark. No please. No apology. Just a request for money. Like nothing happened. Like I didn't leave. Like she didn't destroy me. My stomach clenches. I stare at the message for a long time. I think about responding. Asking her how she could possibly ask me for money after everything. Asking her if she has any shame at all. Asking her if she ever thinks about what she did. But I already know the answers. She doesn't care. She never cared. She sees me as a resource. Nothing more. I delete the message. I block the number. That's my closure. Not an apology, not an explanation, not justice. Just the decision to stop participating in my own destruction. I'm done. I'm done with Cebu. I'm done with Ginalyn. I'm done with trying to buy love from people who don't have any to give. I'm done letting people take advantage of my loneliness. I'm 69 years old. I lost a lot. I lost money and time and dignity and hope, but I didn't lose everything. I still have Emma. I still have my grandkids. I still have myself. I still have the ability to start over, even if starting over means just learning to be alone. Cebu was beautiful, but it was never paradise. It was just a place where I learned an expensive lesson, the most expensive lesson of my life, and now I'm done paying.